Snyder.
Chapter 34. Time Bomb. Matthew Simmons, Virginia, 2018. "Tell me again," I stated, now sitting at a round table with Roger and a handful of other white coats, the beautiful brunette woman Leanne included. I held my rifle at my side, making sure not to point it at anyone as Roger filled me in on the details of what he had previously hesitated to share with me. However, given the fact that I had the gun and what he knew needed to get out, Roger was smart enough to recognize the fact that the information he had was only important if it reached its intended destination, no matter how classified it was or who ended up knowing it. The rest of the white coats had already heard this story, but for me, it was the explanation for the infection I had been waiting for. "What part didn't you understand?" "I understand. Just need to hear it again, so I can repeat it for others if I have to. Everyone here already knows this, and I don't think you're going to get the chance to—" "Please just tell me again." "Okay, sure. The high-security systems, the really top-level security computer mainframes at Eden Corporation are kept completely separate from external connections and networks. Any kind of connection whatsoever, whether it's to the internet, to phones, really anything, other than the internal network that these systems share with one another from facility to facility. And because of that, they're essentially quarantined, just as well as the Eden Corp facilities themselves that manufacture either volatile chemicals or biological weapons. Over the course of the past few months, however, a very high-ranking informant that we've had operating within Eden Corporation managed to effectively plug into a number of these consoles and the network that connects them to one another in order to try and understand some of the information that wasn't open to the public, or for that matter, most of Eden's employees, shareholders, or board members, which, consequently, left only a handful of people who could be associated with those mainframes and what they were instructed to do. And this is the part that's important to understand. What our informant found was that, at times, these consoles would deviate from their controllers. Anomalies would occur, and they would suddenly do things that they hadn't been programmed to do. And while at first we thought maybe it was just a bug or a programming error, we quickly realized that wasn't the case. Every time the mainframes at high-security Eden Corporation facilities deviated from their protocols, within a matter of seconds, the deviation was either erased from the records stored on these machines or was presented in a way that would make it appear to someone looking at the recorded sequence of events after the fact as if no deviation had occurred. This went on for months leading up to the infection, and as it continued, we were able to slowly refine not only the effects of these deviations, but also the cause, Roger explained, pausing in case I needed to hear it again. "Anyway," Roger continued, after scanning the focused and concerned faces of those around him, "what we found was what appeared to be a clone console mainframe, something outside of the established network of computers in these Eden Corporation facilities, something that basically nobody, not even the people who built the damn things, knew existed, and according to the intended design of these machines, something that sure as hell wasn't supposed to exist. At about the same time we realized what we in retrospect know to be the infection date was only 3 days away, and we knew that something was going to happen that day because the anomalies the system kept experiencing were expediting sequentially, and, according to that trend, all coincided and culminated on that date. Unfortunately, it wasn't until the final system anomalies occurred that we were able to figure out what that particular sequence of events was building to. On that day, the clone console completely took over for a period of about 1 hour, disguised from programmers as if it were some kind of short circuit. The clone console and whoever was operating it effectively rerouted systems in every associated facility, locked down the subterranean Eden laboratories, and released the disease into water treatment plants on a global level. That's how the infection happened. How much warning did you have between when you realized exactly what was happening and when it started happening, I asked, trying to understand the details not only for my own peace of mind, but also in the event that I needed to recite them to other survivors. 1 hour. 1 hour? What was her response? Panic and confusion, Roger replied sternly, still haunted by the fact that the sequence of events had led to the world as it was. I don't know how much of what we discovered, if anything, ever reached the military, or which officials were informed. I don't know if Air Force One was able to get off the ground, if the president was taken underground, or, for that matter, if this information was shared outside the United States intelligence apparatus. If I had to guess, I'd say it wasn't. All I know is that my standing orders when the infection struck were to secure this building and the files we had acquired to prove who was responsible. I was assured a military escort would be deployed to evacuate us, and that our safety would be of the utmost importance. And that was over a week ago, right? Yeah, it was. Have you been able to regain contact with anyone since then? No. Communications are crippled, to say the least, and everything on the other end of the line is static. Even automated response networks have been disabled. Every channel I've tried and every kind of communication I can think of only comes up with static. So then, who exactly is it you're trying to get this information to? Whoever's left. Why? Why? Roger scoffed, appalled that I'd even asked the question. Because this was planned. The whole fucking thing was planned. The murder of billions of people, the destruction of civilization as we know it, and the loss of everything humanity had accomplished was fucking planned. That's why. Yeah, I get that, I stated, keeping my cool despite how fired up Roger was about the issue. After all, I'd been expecting this to happen someday one way or another. But here's the thing, Roger. Whoever it is that's still out there, that you want to get this information to, is likely responsible for making this happen in the first place, and probably won't want to hear about it from someone who intends to do them harm. The person responsible for this is Alex Vussel, Roger exclaimed, tensing up as he mentioned the name. Do you know who that is? Can't say I do. Alex Vussel is the founder of Eden Corporation. He's a notoriously secretive trillionaire with a network of other rich and powerful subordinates that include just about every innovator, politician, and tycoon on this planet. But more than that, he is one evil motherfucker who does not play well with others. Alex Vussel is almost universally recognized as being one of the least likable people alive, who, in addition to that, was recently kicked out of his own damn company. If that's not good enough for you, I'll put it this way. The coordinates of the clone console, of the signals and instructions being fed into the Eden Corporation mainframe, came from a private island in between Taiwan and the Philippines owned by none other than Alex Vussel, who, conveniently, happened to be on the island with his family for the months leading up to the infection. You're missing my point, Roger. No, I don't think I am, Roger shouted, standing up from his chair and pointing a damning finger at me. This world is not fucking over. There are still survivors out there, and people deserve to know the truth about what is happening to them and why. They deserve justice. They deserve better. Yes, they do, I replied, staying in my seat. But nobody cares about justice when they're fighting to survive. They aren't going to survive, Leanne interrupted, breaking the long silence between the other white coats sitting around the table. I turned to look at her, waiting for an explanation, and Roger paced by the side of the table, too worked up and furious to return to his seat. What do you mean? Alex won't let them. Even if they've managed to survive up until now, they won't be able to survive the bombardments. I'm sorry, the what? The drones, Roger exclaimed, bringing my attention back to him, his hand pressed against the side of his head, looking as though he were about to cry. After the infection date, Eden Corporation's mainframe consoles have remained online, and so has my ability to monitor their activity. No communications have been attempted between the island and the still operational subterranean facilities, or even those above ground like this one. However, What has been active is the unmanned drone fighter program. More specifically, their targeting systems. So the bombardments are what? Where? You want the big picture or just the near future? Just answer the fucking question, I snapped. Okay. Us. Here. Over there. And over there. And over there. And then, next to that too. Everywhere. He's going to use them to bomb fucking everywhere. And in the short term at least, he's chosen a few select and familiar targets. Eden Corporation facilities, or at least those that are above ground. Those that helped manufacture the disease. He's destroying the evidence and wiping away any trace of what he's done, and then he's going to destroy everything else, Roger growled, tossing a chair down a nearby hallway and then pacing back to the table, glaring at me for the questions I had asked and the place we had found ourselves in. And in case you want to hear that again, too fucking bad. Because as best as I can tell, we have a little less than a week until this building and everything else around it is blown to hell.